Greetings, you filthy heretics. My name is Kamikaze, and I have a question for you. Do you like Harry Potter? Do you like space wizards? Do you like dating a 10,000-year-old corpse man who can't move or speak, but constantly holds back the forces of hell with his mind alone? Well, that's oddly specific, but I don't kink shame, and neither does Darktide, because the Psyker is the class for you. For those unfamiliar with Warhammer 40,000, hell is real. Sorta. It's called the Warp, and it is an endless, timeless, shapeless dimension of infinite energy, and also demons. When anything dies in Warhammer, their soul goes into the Warp, and drifts around in the sea of souls forever. Any being born in Warhammer is born with a small psychic connection to the Warp, allowing their souls to pass on when they die. Some people, however, are born with a much stronger connection. This allows them to channel that power through their mind and manipulate real space in all kinds of ways. These people are called psykers, and the more powerful the connection, the more powerful the psyker. From telekinesis to reading minds to teleport, and yeah, okay, they're wizards. Alright, they're wizards. You can't call them wizards in a sci-fi universe, so they're called psykers. This is very much a double-edged sword, however, because this psychic connection goes both ways. When psykers reach into the warp, they are at danger of some very unsavory entities reaching back. Now, psykers can learn to control this, fight back against the demons trying to reach into their head, and learn to control these powers very effectively. Some, however, explode, get possessed, get flipped inside out, or all kinds of other really nasty things. And the more power that they use, the more danger they pose to both themselves and whatever poor fools happen to be in the nearby vicinity. In-game, the Psyker can be either the biggest raw damage dealer of any class, capable of massive AoE or single target damage, or they can be a very potent support with a wide range of warp abilities, see spells, to help them and their team. They are, however, the true glass cannon in the game, capable of doing absolute work, but they are very squishy and will die very quickly without a team backing them up. Many warp storms, homing missiles, warp fire, all kinds of fun stuff. Like in the lore, however, this does not come without risk. In-game, this is represented through the peril meter. Every warp-based attack or ability that you use will build up this peril meter. It drains slowly over time, or you can press R to meditate and rapidly calm the storm, building with your mind. A mental reload, if you will. You do have to manage this carefully, because if you reach 100%, I do kind of wish that there were more horrible things that could happen if you hit 100%. Like, it could be fun if you get, like, possessed or mutated into a beast of Nurgle or something, but from a gameplay perspective, I can see how people would totally use that to troll their teammates, so fair enough. Exploding is still a pretty good way to demonstrate a reckless psyker. As the psyker in the team, you do not want to be up close. There are a couple of builds that help your survivability a little bit, but generally speaking, you will still die very quickly if you get caught in a bad spot. You may think that the support build would fix this, but not really. A little bit, but well, you offer a lot of utility, but you're still real squishy. Because of this, you typically want to stay with your team, but also a little bit behind them. You know, they are your meat shields after all. Whether you decide to build support or damage, you are incredibly powerful, and your life is too valuable to just be an idiot and go down because you got too gung-ho, you know? This might be the hardest class to play well on high difficulties, because despite not really having to aim, you have to be very careful with your positioning and pay attention to your surroundings a lot. Alrighty, builds. Assail is probably the main ability that I see the most because, well, frankly, it's kind of broken. Hey, click once to instantly kill like 10 enemies without even looking at them for only 10% peril. especially when you have empowered psionics that makes it free and increases the damage by 50%. It's pretty not bad. Honestly, as long as you have this box clicked, the rest of your build can basically be anything, and you'll find. But, in the interest of calling this a guide, here on screen is a very solid all-around build that will carry you and your team to wins on even the highest difficulties. It's honestly hard to add much insight or even be funny about Assail because it's kind of just, it's just that good. If you want to switch it up though, this is pretty much a full support build. It gives you so much utility, it's actually disgusting. Smite to CC enemies, Bubble to protect your team, Bubble to regenerate toughness for your team, damage boosting auras, and cooldown upgrades so you can do it all more often. It also has a lot more survivability. Keep in mind that is relative though, you still die pretty fast if you get caught, but it does give you a little bit more leeway. You won't be killing everything yourself with this build, but it's actually mad strong and it's really fun. I like this one, so give it a try if you haven't. I think you'll like it. Weapons. If you watched the previous two class guides, I talked about the weapon choices kind of during the build, but the Psyker is different in that your powers and skills are what determine your build, and honestly, your weapons aren't super influenced by your build or vice versa. You can pretty much always run a blaze sword, either the penis one or the illicy, and a void strike staff, and yeah, you're fine. The fire staff and the lightning staff are also pretty solid, although I would avoid the little kaboom one. It's fun, but it honestly it kind of sucks. I usually prefer to run one warp weapon and one normal weapon, because I do like to have something to turn to if I get caught with my pants down and my peril high. But that's personal preference, and there's nothing wrong with running two warp weapons. You just have to be more careful managing your peril. Okay, there we go. Builds down, but I feel like I'm missing something. Alright, here we go. If you've been paying attention to these videos, you'd have noticed that they all have 3 distinct builds to show off, and the Psyker will be no different. Now this is a very saucy build, and I will not be held responsible if you get flamed for it, but it is incredibly fun. Actually, easily one of my favorite builds in the whole game. You just go full Psycho mode with Scryer's Gaze, Dueling Sword, Revolver, full-on Space Wizard Cowboy mode. This keystone is brilliant. The more stuff you kill, the more damage you do. You will die in like 2 hits, and you have to be really up close for it to be effective, but who cares? This build is for Alpha Plus Psykers only. Feel free to sub out Smite for whichever power is your favorite. That's not really the focus here. I just like it because it's kind of a get out of jail free card if you get yourself into a sticky situation. Also, just a little side note, I did originally write this before this new revolver got added. However, now that it's here, this is easily my favorite gun in the entire game now. And it happens to fit perfectly with this build. So try it out, it's amazing. Alrighty, Curios. For average builds, you're going to want to go with the usual suspects here. Health, toughness, maybe an extra wound if you're really struggling to stay alive. Secondaries, more health, more toughness, stamina, and damage resistance. For the Psycho Giga Chad Revolver build, however, stamina regen, block recovery, and, well, probably still a little bit of health is good. You will die. Look, I'll be honest, I like to turn my brain off, run in and mash chainsword attacks until my whole screen is a big gory mess, which is not how the Psyker plays. It's truly the Scholars class. You have to worry about positioning and cooldowns. However, while it is not my personal favorite class, I cannot deny the sheer power the Psyker brings to the table. Granted, I'm not an expert, but it really does just feel like the best class in the game a lot of the time. It's kind of crazy how good it is. Really good Psyker players can just solo carry any game. So if you want to be a space wizard, go crazy. It's as long as you're not doing this. So that does it for me. If you learned something or enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to my channel. And remember,